Welcome to FBB Forum. My name is David, and this podcast is dedicated to all the amazing athletes of female bodybuilding. If you like this content, please be sure to like, subscribe, and follow the FBB Forum YouTube and Instagram pages. I'm very pleased to welcome the stunning IFBB Pro wheelchair athlete Sharla Peterson to the podcast. Sharla started her bodybuilding career in the bikini division, but unfortunately had a serious spinal cord injury in 2023 that paralyzed her legs and forced her to use a wheelchair. Sharla was not deterred from bodybuilding, though, and she switched to the wheelchair division, winning not only her division at the NPC Wheelchair Championships in 2024, but also earning her pro card. Coming up next, Sharla is guest posing next week at the Arnold Classic in Columbus, Ohio. I'm very excited to speak with her and learn more about her bodybuilding journey. Welcome, Sharla. It's great to have you here.
Thank you so much, David.
Thank you. Thanks for joining me. I really appreciate it.
It's awesome to be here, and I'm excited to share my journey with you.
Thank you. Now, my first few questions are about how you got started in bodybuilding, and I was curious if you had a athletic or a sports background before you started.
I pretty much fell in love with aerobics when I was 16 years old, and I taught aerobics for several years, and that got me into the gym. And so I had free gym memberships growing up all through college because I was able to teach aerobics. And so part of that was weight training, and I loved weight training, and I would always use the gym facilities I was at, and I would teach aerobics and do weights and just use all the facilities like swimming and everything else that was at the gym. Maybe I got free tanning at the tanning beds back then. So I just really loved going to the gym and spending a lot of time there. And then as I got older and I competed in the Reebok National Aerobic Championships when I was 19. And
Wow.
then I got married and we had kids, and I continued going to the gym, just more of like a recreational weightlifter. But I always admired the bodybuilders and always wanted to do a show someday. So eventually that time happened. So
That's great. And you started in the bikini division, correct?
yeah, so I had a friend that she was doing a competition, and I didn't know anybody else personally that had done one, but she was getting ready to do a competition. So I watched her, get ready and like what she was eating and how she was training. And then it was a natural show locally in Arizona. And she went on stage and she won her class, and then she won overall, and she ended up getting like this pro card. And then she was telling us all about it. And I just got so excited because I thought, oh, I really want to do that. And she just looked at me and she said, "You totally could have gone up there. You could have done, just the way you are." And I'm like, really? So that just kind of gave me the inspiration to like go on stage. Now it was my time to actually do it. And so I just sought out a coach, and 15 weeks later, I was on stage, and that was the year I did 5 shows in 2022 in bikini, and I just loved it. And just really enjoyed doing shows and working out and following a plan and working really hard and watching my body transform. So yeah, I was just really hooked into bikini.
That's terrific. That's so cool. That 5 shows. It's a lot of shows. That's amazing.
Yeah, that was a lot. I was
Um,
ambitious.
yeah, definitely. I think that's terrific, though. I was curious if you don't mind me asking, how old are you?
I am now 53, so I was 51 when I started bodybuilding.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I'm 51 myself, and I just remember back in the 80s, like aerobics was just so popular. So I just wanted to tell the
That
young
dated
fans
me.
out there, the young fans might not know what aerobics is.
Right.
That was when Jane Fonda was really popular.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Um, Now I was curious, do you have a fitness role model or other bodybuilder that you look up to now?
Well, when I first kind of got into or the exposure of bodybuilding, I came across Whitney Jones, who's a local to Arizona. And I just fell in love with Whitney Jones because she was beautiful and she had all this muscle and she had all this energy. And so I just started following her. That was, before I started competing or anything, but I just thought she was really inspiring. And so I followed her for quite some time. And then as I got into bikini, and then started seeing like the bikini pros, I had my favorites there. And now that I'm in a totally different division, I'm looking at like Andrea Shaw, who's in women's, bodybuilding, and even Sydney, who's a figure Olympian. But it's kind of evolved, and so it's like I appreciate every single division, and I appreciate like all these wonderful athletes that show the best of each of the divisions.
That's terrific. I want to give a quick shout out to Whitney and Sydney because they are promoters of the Triple O Dynasty. That's
Yes.
in your neck of the woods in April 5th. So that's coming up soon.
Yeah, that'll be exciting. I need to get that on my calendar and get over there and watch it.
It is such a good show. I went to the first time for the first one last year, and I thought it was really good. I thought they did a really good job with it. So, yeah, definitely got to check it out.
Yeah.
That's terrific, though. Yeah, and those are some good ladies to look up to too. They're pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Um, I was curious, was it maybe not so much because you did aerobics for those years, but was it tough for you to get up on stage in a bikini for the first time? Was it kind of nerve-wracking for you?
Yeah, it was. I had only seen like pictures of people like on stage winning, a medal or something. And I always thought that would be so cool to do. And then I remember as I got into it and I'm training with my coach, and then I find out like what I have to do to pose. And I thought, I have to turn around wearing that.
Yeah.
And I have to stand like that. And it was kind of very eye opening because I didn't even know what I was getting myself into. Like, I'd
Oh,
never been to a show and actually watched it, I just saw pictures. And so, uh, yeah, just, when it's your first time and you don't know if all the fat's going to come off yet before you hit stage, and like how your body's going to finally get to that final stage. And then seeing my pictures, I was very, very nervous on stage. I was shaking, and I I don't know if my routine, I kind of messed up on things, and definitely a true novice. But when I saw pictures of myself, I was like, wow, that's me. I can't believe I did so well. I mean, just, my body had transformed that much, even to like the very last 2 weeks, and so I was pretty proud of myself for that. But it does get a lot easier, especially when you do a lot of shows in your first year. Just the more posing you get, the more time on stage, you just get more comfortable. You get to know the judges a little bit better. So it got a lot easier right after the first one.
that's terrific. Yeah. Yeah, you knew know better what to expect too. Yeah, with bikini, you gotta show your glutes and you have to yeah, show it in a special way. And it's like, yeah.
Yeah, that's
Um,
right.
I was thinking there's one show I went to, I think it was the Tampa show, but it was the amateurs. But I was sitting next to a man and his wife, and the guy's stepdaughter was up on stage, so he kept averting his eyes whenever she would be showing her butt.
Yeah.
Because and I
Yeah,
just thought it was so cute because he was like, "Oh, I don't need to be looking at that."
right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, and it's funny because I mean, I looked at it as muscle and sport and everything else, and it's like the whole world doesn't look at it that way. But it's just like, oh shoot. I mean, a guy can go up there in a speedo, and no one thinks anything of it. But then
Yeah.
the first time, a girl goes in this bikini, it's like everyone it blows it out of the water. It's like, no, it's muscle. It's like we're showing you.
Exactly. I don't
Yeah.
know that the rest of the world, yeah, maybe doesn't see it that way, but the bodybuilding world realizes,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And I don't think this guy, I don't know if he'd even been to a bodybuilding show before. So yeah, I thought
Right. Yeah. It's a little eye opening for sure when the bikini comes out. Bikini division comes out. It's like, oh,
I know.
yeah.
Wellness is kind of like that too.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. It's definitely growing. Wellness is definitely growing.
It is, yeah,
Yeah.
it's a good division. Now tell me a little bit more about your accident. Like when did this occur and what exactly happened to you?
Yeah, so I competed in 2022. I'd done 5 shows, and at the end of the year, I finished with, Masters USA in November, and, then I had a couple of hernias that were from pregnancies. I've had 5 kids, and so I think I got, like, 1 per child, 1 hernia per child.
Oh, no.
And, well, I only thought I had 2, but then when they went in, they found 4. But I thought I'm gonna take some time off and, get these repaired because I wanna continue bodybuilding and I don't want these to be an issue for me. And
Yeah.
so, I had hernia repair in December, thinking I would have, like, 6 months recovery, and then I'd get back into weightlifting again. And so I had my surgery, and I had about a 3 months, recovery, and then I was back in the gym working my arms, and I wasn't allowed to do any core work, and I wasn't really doing anything with legs. But by my 6 months, my doctor said I was okay to do squats, and so I was, back in the gym, feeling really good. I was doing a 90-day challenge at the time. Um, and I was really excited about getting back into it. So I joined this challenge, and the challenge had like 10 things we had to do every day. We had to work out for 45 minutes at the gym. We had to do 30 minutes outside activity, either biking or walking or whatever. And we had to read 10 pages a day. We had to drink a gallon of water. We had to follow our macros, and then we had to like take a picture of ourselves working out. And so I was getting into this challenge, and I was feeling really good about my recovery, um, and we were talking about competing again in November at the Ben Weider Naturals, and so um, this was in July of 2023. It was about 7 months now after my surgery, and I was at the gym. I was actually in Utah because my daughter was at a volleyball camp in Provo. And so my other daughter, who lives in Provo, she and I went to the gym in the morning, and I was doing back squats for the first time, like since my recovery. I had been doing um, other kinds of squats, but I didn't have anything loaded on my back.
Okay,
And
yeah.
I had been doing like hip thrusts and everything else. But so now I'm back to squats, right? And so I decided to do the Smith machine, and I started with low weight and started adding a little bit more weight with each rep each set. And I was on my last set, and I was about halfway through, and I feel this burst in my back, and it was my L1 vertebrae that burst in half, and part of it went into my spinal cord, which created
Oh,
paralysis down from the waist down. And so then my legs went out from underneath me, and I was collapsing with the bar on my head or on my shoulders.
oh,
And
wow.
I couldn't figure out how to get off, but I yelled help. But as I yelled, I was able to push myself off the bar onto the floor. And then I was rushed to the hospital, and they found out that I had broken my L1 and that they were going to pull it off my spinal cord. So I went right into surgery, and my husband flew out from Arizona to Utah. And so when he got there, I was just coming out of surgery. Um, and I was able to move my legs a little bit. I had some quad activation right after that. So I did get a little bit of movement back after the surgery.
Okay.
Um, but I was still paralyzed, like my hamstrings, glutes, and my calves were still paralyzed. But they said I was an incomplete, and I would have the opportunity to get some things back,
Okay.
possibly everything. We don't know for sure, but there's chance for things to come back. So
Mhm.
kind of had that hope of like, things will come back. Um but then things got really slow, and I was in a wheelchair for longer than I thought it was going to be, and things, it was just like, okay, this is not a fast recovery at all. Spinal cord injury can be really slow.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was what happened.
Wow, wow. That's that like kind of a life-changing experience for you. I mean, geez.
Yeah, very life changing. Yeah.
Wow. Was there a lot of pain involved, or was it just kind of numb or
Yeah, I mean, when it first happened, I didn't feel the pain right away. But when they got me into the ambulance, that's when the pain hit. And, I was just screaming in this horrible pain.
Oh,
And
wow.
then after the surgery, I was on a lot of medications. I would have pain with when I would move. I was pretty much laying down most of the time, but anytime I sat up, I have pain. And then for a couple of months after that, I'd have pain in my hip area, just like a nerve pain. And it would keep me up at night and just, so there was definitely pain in the first few months. But
Wow.
since I got through that and then I was able to take my back brace off at 3 months, then I really haven't had any pain. So
Wow. Oh, wow. That's good to know about no pain. Wow.
yeah.
Wow. So I was curious, when did you decide to get back into bodybuilding again? This time, of course, in the wheelchair division.
Yeah. So the Whitney Jones show is coming up in October, and my accident was in July. And I had some friends that were competing. I had competed in that in 2022. And so I really wanted to go watch it. And I got together with some friends and we went and watched some of our other friends that were on stage. And I just had that thought of like, I wonder if there's bodybuilding for wheelchair people, people who use wheelchairs. And I had talked to one of my physical therapists, and he said, "Oh, I've seen it on like social media somewhere. I know that there's wheelchair bodybuilding." And so after watching the Whitney Jones, I came home and I was looking at my laptop trying to research, wheelchair bodybuilding, and I found wheelchairbodybuilding.com and found out that you can continue competing in the wheelchair division, and it was by the NPC and the IFBB. So it wasn't even a different league. It was the same league I was already in, but I'd never ever heard of it. And
Nice. Very cool.
come to find out there's just some select shows that they're at. They're like Olympia and Arnold and a couple other pro shows. Um, so I just found out as quickly as I could. I'm like, okay, show me when can I sign up? When can I compete? And I didn't even have a trainer. I couldn't even drive. I wasn't even going to the gym. I'm like, I'm competing. I don't care. I'm just
Wow,
so
that's
excited
amazing.
that I can actually keep doing this. So yeah, I just got excited about it and found out that the Arnold was coming up. This was October, and the Arnold Amateur was February 29th or 28th, something like that. And so I just started getting ready.
That's terrific. Did you have any issues with your doctor? Like your doctor's like, well, I don't know. Was he
I
cool
did
with it?
have I did have weight limitations. So from my hernia repair, I was still under abdominal precautions. I still couldn't work my core.
Okay.
So I couldn't do that until December. And then also my spine doctor said no lifting over 40 pounds until December. So once I hit December, all of my limitations were lifted. So I was able to start working out and getting myself back into condition. And then once December hit, I was like ready to like go full out and work really hard and work my core. And so that was really helpful. But yeah, after December, I had a few months to just really get ready.
Wow, that's amazing. Was it now in terms of your training, were you able to still did you have to kind of transition your training techniques because of having the wheelchair or was
Yeah,
it
so a little bit. There's just certain things, your body cannot get in position for, or they can, but you need a lot of help with.
yeah,
Um, but it wasn't as hard as I thought. I was able to transfer myself onto machines pretty easily. And so that was really, really helpful to be able to get on machines. My hardest thing was loading plates or unloading plates off of a machine. So
yeah,
I had a lot of people when I showed back up at the gym that were like, oh, if can I help you? Can I help you? I had a lot of people offering to help, which was so great. So I would just say, can you load these plates for me? Or if I saw someone on a machine that I wanted, I would say, would you leave on, a 45 on each side? And so I just had a lot of help, and it was pretty easy to adjust. And then as I learned how to get in and out of my chair better, get on the floor and get back on my chair, I was
yeah.
able to get on the floor and do like face pulls and other things that like my chair might move if I'm doing a face pull because like the brakes won't stay very tight or something, or I'm doing something really heavy. So it was just better on the floor. And so I could just take my little seat cushion off my chair and sit on it on the floor, and I could do some pretty heavy face pulls.
Wow.
Um,
Okay.
So I learned to like maneuver my body in certain, things so that it works better to get the weights done.
That's very cool. That's awesome that you were able to do that. Are you able to, in terms of drive and everything like that now, or that?
So yeah, since it's been a year now. So I started driving in January of 24. Yeah,
Mm,
24. Yeah, January 24th. So I was able to I have some AFOs that go in my shoe that hold my ankles straight so that I have pressure on the pedal. And so
okay.
I was able to move my quads, my hip flexors, they would lift my hip flexors enough to hit the pedals on the car.
Oh, cool.
and
Okay.
and then I had to figure out how to like load my chair into the car. That was I think the biggest thing for me was twisting and lifting heavy and trying to get it in the car.
Yeah.
So that took a long time to get that figured out without scratching my car up or scratching my wheelchair. But once I was able to get that really down, then I was able to start driving and be more independent. So I could take myself to the gym if I needed to.
That's awesome. That's very cool. I was curious if you might have had to use, I know there's some hand
Yeah, hand control.
devices.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, most people with spinal cord do use that. My spinal cord injury was pretty low at L1, and so I did have quite a bit of not hamstring, quad movement and hip flexor movement. Um, so I've been able to use my legs a little bit more.
That's terrific. That's really cool. Wow. Um, Now, I know you earned your pro card in the wheelchair division last year, and I bet that was a thrill for you to get that. But what
Yeah.
was your experience like at the wheelchair nationals? I bet that was awesome.
Yeah. Well, just because coming in from bikini division, knowing that, nationals is like where you get your pro card and, that's like after you do your local shows and you go to nationals. And so for me, it was like a no-brainer. You go to nationals. There's a wheelchair nationals. Let's do it. And
Yeah,
so I had done the Arnold amateur last year, and we had one other amateur competing against me, which was awesome because there's not a lot of women in this sport. And I won first place. And so coming into wheelchair nationals, there were a few people that were interested, but nobody else showed up but me. And
oh, I
so I
see.
thought, I'm just going to show up, but I'm not going to earn a pro card because, there's nobody else to compete against.
Yeah,
And so I was excited to show up, and I had made some improvements since my first show, and I was just excited to get on stage again and just keep being part of the sport. So I really didn't expect to get a pro card, and the judge had to approve it, the NPC had to approve it, the IFBB, everybody had to approve it to make it happen because you don't get a pro card when you don't. There needs to be 5 people in the class in order to get a pro card. But
yeah,
I guess they were impressed with what I brought, and I was ready with all my posing. I was ready for quarter turns. I had practiced all the poses. I gave them everything. I was ready to compete, and I think that's what they liked, was that I was actually doing the poses and the quarter turns, and like I was ready. And so I just started crying. It was like, no way, they're gonna actually give me a pro card. I can't believe it. So
that's awesome.
it was really exciting. So now that I have a pro card, I had the opportunity to start guest posing at Olympia and Arnold until we have more women to compete against, because we don't because what do I do? I'm a pro and I don't get to compete at what do I do? So
I
they give us
got
the
you.
opportunity to do that. And so I'm really excited about this year. We're probably going to have our first women's wheelchair bodybuilding pro show in August of 2025. And so I'm really excited that we can make history and kind of get this wheelchair division going for the women.
And you said that's going to be at the Texas Pro, right?
Yeah, the Texas Pro.
Yeah. And tell me about, you said there might be two other ladies that might compete against you?
So we know one, Jen Paskey, who has had her IFBB Pro card since I think 2018,
Okay.
and she's been guest posing at Olympia and Arnold. I think she's been 3 times Olympia, 3 times Arnold, and then we're hoping there's another lady that's competing at the Arnold South America in April this year, and we're hoping she'll get her pro card. So then there will be 3 of us to compete. So, and then there's also wheelchair nationals in June, and someone could show up. So there could be 4 of us possibly. I mean, we just don't know. But we're hoping things go in that positive direction.
That's terrific. You had mentioned the Colombian lady. Do you know her name offhand or?
It's Angelica. She goes under her Instagram as Paola Wheelchair, and she's been competing in her country. I think she's done 4 competitions. She looks fantastic.
Wow.
I mean, she looks like a pro. Um, she's just hardcore. She's ready to, you know, to bring it, to get her pro card and to compete. I know she's ready. So I hope that she gets her pro card.
That's awesome. Yeah. And Jen Paskey sounds really familiar. I think maybe I've seen her before, so I'll have to make
Yeah.
sure to check her out. But yeah, that would be great. I hope that y'all have the kind of the critical mass you need to really have that competition and in
Yeah.
Texas. That'd be awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. It'd be awesome.
Yeah. That's so cool. I hope that works out. But regardless, you still would be able to guest pose at Texas Pro, do you think? Or would that be an opportunity?
No, no, there
No.
won't be any guest posing. So, guest posing, they will have Olympia and Arnold.
Yeah.
And, let's say we compete in Texas Pro, and the person who wins gets the opportunity to do the guest posing Olympia and Arnold for this year in the United States. But
Oh,
any of us as a pro could do guest posing at any of the Arnolds. That there's one in London, there's one in South America, there's one in India. So like if I don't win and I don't get the opportunity to do it in the United States, I have the option to go foreign if I want to and do guest posing there.
that's terrific. That's really cool.
Yeah, I think that would be exciting.
Yeah, it would be really cool. Yeah. I was curious too with Masters Olympia. Is there a wheelchair for that too? Or I didn't know. No, I was just curious.
No, we're not at that stage yet. I mean, we're just one division. There's, no matter, it's just open, wheelchair open. So,
Yeah, I got you. Oh, I understand. Yeah, that makes sense. True. Yeah. No, that's terrific though. Um, Now in terms of Arnold Classic, I know I've seen the pictures. It looks like, you're in prep because you're going to be guest posing next week. So that's exciting.
yeah.
I was curious, how long have you prepped for the show?
Well, ever since Olympia, like,
Yeah.
I mean, I knew right after wheelchair nationals that I was going to Olympia, so I prepped for that. And then after Olympia, I knew I was going to Arnold, so I was able to prep. I think it was 20, maybe a little over 20 weeks since that. And then from Arnold to the Texas Pro, there's 23 weeks. So just not a lot of time.
Yeah, I gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like my whole bodybuilding career, I've never had a building phase. Like when I
Yeah.
first started bikini, I prepped for 15 weeks and stepped on stage. And then I did 5 shows that year. And then I had my hernia, surgery. Then I had my 6 months recovery. And then I was, had this accident. And then I just jumped right back into the wheelchair division. And so I feel like I've never had like 6 months to put on muscle, which I
Uh-huh.
really, really want. Um,
Uh-huh.
so hopefully at some point I'm going to be like, okay, I'm not going to compete. I just need some time off. I need to grow. I just need some muscle.
Sure. I know that's one thing I've noticed just with the women in general, that the ones that take a year off come back better than ever because
Yeah.
they have that time to grow and kind of go through a health phase too, I think is good. So
Yeah.
um,
Yeah. I'm looking forward to that. So, I mean, I love to compete and I love to go to Olympia. I think everything's really great, but I'm like, I really need to grow. I just need, some time. So,
yeah, maybe take next year off maybe would be good. So yeah.
yeah.
Um Now, I was curious in terms of your prior shows in bikini and wheelchair, did you find that there's kind of a strong kind of iron sisterhood at the shows? And what about the tanning and makeup folks and the expediters? Did you enjoy working with those folks?
Oh, yeah. In bikini, and this is something I've said to my coaches before, but in bikini, it's so fun backstage. You're with all the girls. We connect with the bikini girls, wellness girls, whoever's in the backstage. You just connect and you just have fun and you follow each other on Instagram. And I think there's just this big camaraderie of like support. And I just have loved that. But then when you come to wheelchair, I'm in the men's wheelchair division. And
Yeah.
so when I'm backstage, there's really no other women. Like last year, there was a few at the Arnold Amateur that were women's physique or bodybuilding. There's just a few though, and I got to know them, but it wasn't the same thing. It wasn't like this whole bunch of, teams of bikini girls coming in. And so that's been hard because every competition I've done, I'm with the guys, and it's fine because I get to know the wheelchair men, and it's been fun. But it's not the same, with the. And then Olympia was a little more stressful. I was backstage with all the bikini girls, which was cool, but they're so into winning, or their whole stage presence because this is Olympia. Nobody was backstage like talking, interacting, getting to know each other. It was a totally different vibe.
Oh,
I
I
mean, I
see.
knew I knew a couple of them. Like I knew Jessica Wilson, and we had connected on Instagram, and we had connected at the meet and greet, and so she was back there, and so but most of the time I was either getting ready for my stage or she was getting ready for her stage. So it's kind of a little bit different.
Yeah, I
So
understand.
yeah, it's been different.
That's
So
yeah,
I'm hoping to have more wheelchair women, to be backstage with me to have that camaraderie. So
I totally understand that. Yeah, that's different. And yeah, no, I hope you do get some more women to compete with. I think that'd be good. Um, and it's a little different because with all the guys doing the wheelchair, so yeah. But yeah, it's different. It's harder to relate, I think, to the guys, I would think, so.
well,
Um,
it's actually pretty fun because you're not competing against them or anything,
yeah,
and so it is actually fun just talk about um, you know their protocols and what they eat and how they train and things like that. And then some of them don't speak English, so you're just like nodding and shaking your head
yeah, that's true.
and saying, "I like you. You're cool. Let's take a picture together."
That's cute. Yeah, a lot of international guys for sure, especially at the
Yeah,
Olympia. Yeah, that's cool though.
yeah.
I was curious, have the judges given you any feedback on where you need to improve your physique or presentation? Like, I was thinking maybe after the wheelchair nationals, maybe.
Yeah, I did go up to the judges and asked, and they all said, "Put on more size, put on more size." So yeah,
That's very cool.
yep.
And I was curious, what do you think is your best muscle group, and what do you think needs the most improvement?
I think my biceps are the smallest. Like I feel like the other two women that are doing wheelchair that I will eventually hopefully compete against, I mean they just have ginormous biceps, and I'm like, I just got these puny little biceps. So I think that's like needs the most work. Um, I don't know, my best, I would probably say, like, my abs might be the best. With wheelchair and spinal cord, everyone's spinal cord injury is different level, and
Yeah,
so those of us that higher, we can't work our abs, and those that are lower, you can. And so because mine is an L1, I actually have full abs, and so I feel like that's a little bit of an advantage, to others who might not have, the ability to do it. So, I mean, I feel like my abs can get pretty lean. Uh, and I mean, they do need to grow as well. Everything needs to grow. I'm just tiny
oh
everywhere.
yeah.
I'm talking about, I'm going from bikini to women's bodybuilding. It's just like a
Yeah,
huge difference. And
I understand.
I'm tiny and I'm doing, the poses for women's bodybuilding. And it's like, it's just kind of fun. But
I
uh,
understand.
so I don't know. I just hope that I can get bigger shoulders and more density in my back. I definitely need more density in my back. So
Sure, I
yeah.
understand. You look great though. I thought the pictures I've seen, you look awesome though.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Um, Now my next few questions are about prep and coaching, and I know you mentioned, I think before we started recording, that you have a prep coach you're working with.
Yeah. So I had my prep coach right now is Wendy Grag, and she got her pro card in women's bodybuilding.
Yeah.
And she started out as my posing coach because I had already started with another coach who was my coach for the 90-day challenge. And
Okay.
so I had started coaching with her, and then I wanted to find someone local to do my posing. So I found Wendy here. And then after the Arnold, I did end up switching over to Wendy full time as my coach and my posing coach. Um, and so she she's a great trainer, and she knows the sport, and she's prepped many times for women's bodybuilding and physique, and so I felt like she had a lot to offer me.
Yeah.
And so she's been really great just to help me with my posing. I mean, she's really great with like getting my positioning right, and just making sure I nail my poses, and um, and as a coach, just each week we check in, and especially like with this prep, it's been different. Is I've had other challenges, and it's like, okay, what do we do now? What do we do now? And so it's great to have a prep coach for sure.
She's local, you said?
Uh-huh, yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. So you get to see her in person.
Yeah. Yep. So I get to train with her. I Right now I'm training with her once a week and posing with her once a week. So,
Perfect. That's great. Did that take, had she ever worked with a wheelchair competitor before?
she said she had in Russia, she's from Russia, and she had a couple of competitors, I think three different wheelchair competitors that she's worked with before.
Okay.
So,
Yeah. I was just thinking the posing would be challenging, I think, just because you have to kind of whole different kind of way of looking at posing, I think, too. So,
yeah.
um, but that's really cool. Yeah, that's great. And yeah, I'm familiar with her. She's pretty awesome. So it's great that you get to work with her.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really great that I have someone local that can help me.
And bikini versus bodybuilding, you would have had to learn all these new poses too. So that probably took a while to kind of get used to that.
Yeah, I look at my very first videos of when we worked together and just how hard it was for me to pull off some of the poses. And I mean, especially with like, it's so different because when you're posing, you're in a like a back arch a lot, especially when you're doing like your back bicep pose. You want your biceps to post or to pop up from the backside, and you've got to lift your body and everything. And after I didn't have my core totally strengthened and everything yet, and just learning these poses, it was just like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can do this.
Oh, I see.
But
Yeah.
it, I after about a week, my body adjusted, and I was able to do them. But I tell you, lat spread is hard, especially the front lat spread. It's like,
Yeah.
it's really hard to nail that.
I
So
bet. Is it tough too to get because the judges are kind of down low and they're
yeah,
looking up at you, so you have to
yeah,
kind of factor in that to make sure that they can see you okay too, I imagine.
right, yeah, and that's why you have to like lean back a little bit more to, yeah. So
Yeah. Oh wow. Yeah, that's really cool though. That's great that she's helping you like that. I was curious, what would you say is the most like challenging aspect of prep for you, and did it change from when you were in bikini? I mean, such because the accident was so life changing for you and stuff.
um, well, I think it was just like learning how my body was going to respond now that in a wheelchair. Yeah, I lost 13 pounds after the accident. So, most of my muscle was, my calves shrunk to like little tiny things, and my legs, I just lost all the muscle down in my legs. And so it was, it was like, okay, how many calories can I eat now? And how do I do my cardio? And if I don't have my legs, or, if I have limited use of my legs, and so I think it was just a hard adjustment, just knowing, you know, how my body was going to respond to things. Um, I'm trying to think. I mean, it was just, things we had to relearn. Um, and then I don't know, the hardest part of prep. I don't know. I think it's about the same. I mean, prep is prep. I mean, you're measuring your food, you're going to the gym all the time, you're working hard. Your body, takes a toll with all of that. And so, I mean, it's about the same. I don't know what the hardest part is. Um, I don't know. I feel like, when I'm 10 weeks, 8 weeks out, I'm definitely way more focused than before. So I think the challenging part is when you're not exactly cutting yet. I think the hardest part for me is that I feel like I can get away with a couple of cheats or a couple of, meals out or whatever. And I think
Well,
that's the hardest part is just like when I'm not in like total prep phase of like I'm cutting now, that I don't always like stick to the diet like I should.
yeah,
But once I am in that mode, it's like, okay, I'm completely on. And like I've got to, be ready for stage, and I've got to like, be conditioned and spot on. So I think it just gets easier the closer you get.
sure. I got you. I understand that. Yeah. Um, does Wendy get on you for doing the cheats? You're like, no. Yeah.
No, she's actually like, okay, let's put those calories to work then.
Oh, oh, that's cool though. I like
Let's work
that.
you harder. Yeah.
That's good though. I like that. That's good attitude too. I was curious, what advice can you give to ladies who are looking for a good coach? Like, what should they be looking for?
I would say look for somebody that has a good reputation, somebody that has put people on stage before and has been on stage before. Um, and someone that you feel you have a good rapport with, you have a good vibe with. I think that's definitely very important. And
Do you think is there an advantage to having a female coach too for women to have female coaches?
I don't think so. I had a male coach with my first coach when I was in bikini. He was phenomenal. And I felt like when I had this accident, because I wasn't sure what help I was going to need backstage, I wanted a female. And so that's why I switched to female, just because I felt like, I didn't know what to expect. I think now that I'm a little bit more independent and I know that I can, maneuver, get my things done that I need to do backstage, that I'd be okay having a male coach again.
Okay.
So I don't think it matters. I think it matters to you if you feel comfortable in front of a male with your check-in poses. It's like you're checking in every week, you're taking pictures of yourself and sending them in.
Yeah.
And also, like, if they're local and you're showing up in your bikini or whatever, how comfortable do you feel with them looking at your body?
Yeah.
It's
Sure.
I think there's a comfort level. Some women just don't feel comfortable doing that. They'd rather have a female. Those are a couple things to take into consideration.
That makes sense. Yeah, definitely. I understand that. Yeah. Um, Now I was curious, do you have a full-time job outside of bodybuilding?
I have a part-time job, and it's very flexible. I work for my husband. He's a dentist, and I do all of his bills, and I do payroll, and so I just kind of work from home.
Cool.
Um, so it's just really flexible hours, and yeah.
That's awesome. Very cool. That's great. I was curious, that does your husband is he a bodybuilder too? I'm just curious.
No, I mean, he likes to work out at the gym. He
Yeah,
does lift weights, and he really loves biking, so he does a lot of bike races locally when they come up, when he has a chance to do that. But he loves to be on the bike.
terrific. Yeah. And you're in Arizona too, so that's yeah, warm
Yeah.
weather, not icy roads or nothing.
No.
Um, and does he support your bodybuilding career? I bet he's really supportive of you.
Yeah, yeah, he's been very supportive. So it's been great to not have any conflicts with that. That he's just like, okay, like after my first show, he's like, wait, you're gonna do another one? He's like, I thought this was one and done.
Oh,
Like, no, I I'm gonna keep going. And then, with the wheelchair, he's been so supportive with, the accident and helping me whenever I need help. And then he was excited for me to be able to get back into bodybuilding in the wheelchair. And so he's gone to all my competitions with me, or all the guest posing, and he's been a big support. So I
that's
couldn't do
terrific.
without him.
Oh, that's really sweet. That's terrific. Yeah. And I know you mentioned you had 5 kids too, and
Yeah.
I was impressed with that. But I was curious, what are their ages, and do they support your bodybuilding efforts too?
Yeah, I mean, they're supportive. It's not like they go to my shows or anything. But, I mean, they're like, "Oh, yay, mom, that's great," you know? So I don't get any backlash or anything. They're all very supportive. And my oldest is 27. Is that right? Yeah, my oldest is 27 and my youngest is 12. So
Oh, wow. That's a good range. Wow. That's so cool. Yeah, that's neat. They got to show up to your shows though. They got to come support you.
yeah, I
Um,
don't know. Someday maybe they will. I mean, they get to watch live stream, they watch live stream, but I think just Columbus, Ohio is kind of an odd place for any of my kids to go to. And Idaho my kids were like, within a couple hours driving, but they didn't. So I don't know. Maybe there'll be a chance when they're close enough and they want to come out.
that's cool. Yeah. With the kids at how many kids do you still have at home?
I have two at home.
Oh yeah. Was it tough transitioning being, a mom and after the accident and stuff or did they kind of step in and help you too, I imagine.
Yeah, it was a big adjustment for sure, where they had to step in and help out. I mean, they still help me every now and then, like loading my chair if we're trying to hurry, and they'll help me load my chair, unload it, or if we've loaded the car and I forgot something.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
like, "Will you run back inside and get this for me? 'Cause I'm not gonna unload my chair again." And,
Yeah.
it's like, it's such a hassle. So, yeah, they're used to that. "Mom can't do this. Can you please help?" So, yeah,
Yeah.
it was a big adjustment, and, they're adjusting to it still, so
That's really cool that they're helping you though. That's awesome. And I didn't include in my questions, but I had an idea for a reality show on mom bodybuilders, and it would be called Muscle Mamas. But I
Oh,
think
yeah,
you show like what like everyday life is like, but then
yeah.
you're getting ready for a show and that kind of thing. I think it would be really interesting to see. I think Netflix should do it. So
They should, yeah. Yeah, I've seen a lot of posts with women coming off Olympia stage and hugging their kids, and some of the things. And I've listened to podcasts with pros that have families and kids, and how their kids are so part of their journey. And my kids are a little bit older now, but they're younger ones, and so it's really really cool to see the family life.
yeah, I think so too. I think it would be interesting to watch. And yeah, I don't know, Netflix people out there, y'all gotta get this show going.
Yeah, yeah, that'd be good.
Now, so you're in Arizona, so you're in the Phoenix area, is that right?
Hmm.
And I was curious, do you have I know this because I've seen it, but in terms of supportive bodybuilding community there?
Yeah, I think so. I think with like there's a couple of shows that happen every year, like Whitney Jones. Like a lot of people want to compete in the Whitney Jones. That's a big popular one here. Um, and is it the Dennis James, or is it? I'm trying to think of the name of the one that's in June in Scottsdale every year. Um, and we used to have the Betty Price, so we had one in August, but they've started their own organization now, so I don't know what they're going to do for that August show. But there's quite a few people here, and there's some good groups of coaching teams. There's a lot of
Yeah.
coaching teams here, and I just think this is definitely a great place to pursue a bodybuilding career, or pursue your bodybuilding dreams here, because there's a lot of good coaches here.
And don't forget about Triple O, that's coming up too.
Yeah.
That's a good show.
Yeah. Funny that. Yeah, I think my coach had a couple of competitors in that last year, and I don't remember why I couldn't go. I had another commitment, but I'm pretty sure I'll be able to go this year, so that'll be exciting.
It was such a good show. I was really impressed. I told you I'm not going to be able to go this year because of a work conflict, but yeah, no, it's a really good show, and those the promoters really know how to treat the athletes right, you know, because they're
Yeah,
athletes themselves and female athletes too. So I think that's really cool. So um I was curious, are your parents still alive?
they're not.
No? Oh, okay.
Mm,
I was just curious if did they ever got to see you compete in bodybuilding?
they never did.
No? Oh no, okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
What about, do you have any siblings?
Yeah, I do. And they've all watched me on live stream. Yeah, and I mean, they support me. So nobody's come like to watch in person, but everybody's watched on live stream. So that's cool.
That's terrific. Yeah. They got to show up to the show and yell for you though. They got to come.
Yeah. Yeah, I had some friends because Olympia is in Vegas and it's pretty close. So I had some really good friends that drove out there and were just screaming and yelling for me on the Olympia stage. And that was awesome. That was just awesome.
That's terrific. Yeah. That's so cool. That's really nice. I just have a few more questions for you. I was curious, do you ever find it hard to deal with like the demands of social media, you know, in terms of, people putting messages on posts or direct messaging you?
I feel like I have a pretty quiet crowd.
Yeah,
Like no, there's a few comments of people that I know. Mostly I've always had just good comments. I've never had any like bad comments,
good.
except for I did have a my when I hit my 1 year with my spinal cord injury, I sent out a video which went viral, I think like 4 million views. And that one I had a lot of backlash with, and that was probably just the angle that I came across. And because I'm a believer in God. I have faith in God, and so that was part of my video, and so I got a lot of backlash with that. But
Really?
other besides that video, I haven't had any negative
That,
comments or anything else. So
that's great. I'm glad to hear that actually. 4 million views. That's a lot of views too. Wow. Was it hard to keep? I imagine that was kind of blowing up your DMs.
yeah, yeah, that was crazy. I'm like, I did not expect that at all. So yeah.
I think it depends on the algorithm sometimes because you end up in suggestions for other people's posts, and
Yeah.
so yeah, but that's good. So you haven't had to deal with too many trolls or nothing though.
No.
That's good.
Yeah.
What about fans? Have any overzealous fans or and I hope that the fans that mostly interacted or that you've interacted with have behaved, but anything like that you've had to deal with?
No.
Good.
Yeah.
That's good though. Yeah. Um, and I was just that's something that I've asked women about, and just when they got into bodybuilding, they never expected to have fans per se, but does that kind of feel weird to have fans for you?
Uh, yeah, it does. I mean, I always had my Instagram on private until Wheelchair Nationals,
Okay.
and then after that, I made it public just because we needed to collaborate with wheelchair bodybuilding and everything. So, yeah, it was interesting. I mean, I got a lot of like real estate agent people and people selling hair clips and things like that. So I'm like, are they just following me because they want me to, follow them back and get their, so it's been kind of interesting. It's like, are people really interested in who I am and like, what I do, or is this mostly a commercial? I couldn't figure it out, but it was just I kind of got a combination of everything. But I mostly got people that were into the bodybuilding world that thought it was really cool because I was in a wheelchair and still bodybuilding and things like that. So it was just nice to like connect with people that supported me, or just from the bikini world that just kind of blew up a little bit more. um, People that I connected with through that. So yeah, it's been interesting. And then I had this reel that went viral. And I mean, so many people were checking out my page, and it was just like, oh my gosh, now what do I do? What do I post now? Because like I have all these people looking at me, and I don't, it's just kind of weird because you just like, I don't know what they want. I don't know what to do. So you kind of freeze up, like, do I still be myself? Do I still, so
I got you.
More crazy.
Did that boost your followers too when that went viral?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I
quite a bit.
bet, yeah. Yeah. I think that's kind of interesting. You can have like instant fame that, through Instagram that way or
Yeah, yeah, it is
something
really
going
weird.
viral.
Yeah. But I mean, I feel like I connect with a lot of wheelchair people who are doing sports in wheelchairs. So that
Oh,
was
good.
nice because I was able to like follow other people that had similar um, interests and things, in sports as I did. And so it's been nice to connect with a lot of people that relate to me. So
I think the craziest wheelchair sport I've seen is wheelchair rugby. And those guys are like tussle and I think there's even women too, maybe, but
yeah,
they still fight like they do like in a regular rugby. And it's
I
like,
know. I'm
they're
just like, you
like
fall out of your chair, you can't help them up. They have to get up by themselves. Crazy.
I
Yeah, and
know, it's
Paralympics,
crazy.
watching Paralympics this year for the first time. Like the just all the sports that they're doing. It's amazing.
Oh, I know it is. It's really amazing. Yeah, it is. It's cool to see that. I'm impressed with the runners that have like the one guy, the South African guy that I think killed his girlfriend, but he has those I don't even know what they're called.
The prosthetics.
Yeah, the prosthetics, but they're
Yeah.
like the metal crescent kind of thing, and
Yeah, I don't know what they're called.
those are so cool. It's like wow,
Yeah.
it's amazing to
Yeah,
see those guys run. It's like wow, they're so fast. So
I know. Oh, I just think of the adjustment of, that body part that's grinding inside that prosthetic over and over and over again. I just think, oh, and then you have to trust 100% that it's not going to fail you. It's amazing.
it seems painful too, where that hitting where it would, on your
Yeah.
knee. So yeah,
Yeah.
yikes. Um, I was just curious, how do you think we can get more fans to support the bodybuilding shows? Because I think, you know, female bodybuilding fans need to buy more tickets and buy more live streams. But I was just curious if you have a take on that. Because the shows I've been to are for the most part they've been kind of anemic, I think, with the audience. Um, Sometimes the finals will be a little bit better, but I don't know. I just think that I would like to see more fans show up.
Yeah, I when I was at the Arnold last year, they were saying that the Arnold, um, the attendance of the Arnold has gone down significantly since COVID,
Oh,
and
hmm.
I don't know. It seems like is the bodybuilding world growing because social media, like you prep and you work so hard and you show up on stage and you don't get the recognition, but like you can get a lot of recognition on social media, like more thousand, followers. Then
Hmm.
I don't know. It's almost like, well, do I put my money into a coach and competing and going on stage, or do I just like entertain people on Instagram and get all these followers? I think with social media you have a little bit of a conflict, and so there may not be quite as much of a draw to go on stage and be in front of a judge. You'd rather be in front of Instagram followers, but I
Yeah,
mean,
I
I
got
don't
you.
know, but I'm just really grateful to see because I know the Arnold they don't do women's bodybuilding, they don't do women's physique,
That's
and
true.
it's nice to see like Queens of Strength and the Rising Phoenix and like the Triple O Dynasty and all of those that support the physique and women's bodybuilding categories.
Yeah.
It's it's great that they're out there and there's more and more shows every year coming out. So I think the more that they get out, the more people will come.
I honestly I was disappointed that Arnold dropped women's physique and women's bodybuilding and figure too. And I was like,
Yeah, and figure too.
I was really upset about that. So I kind of like boycotted. I don't necessarily want to go.
Yeah.
It's like losing my favorite divisions. I'm like, I don't know,
Yeah.
I can't support that. But
I know, yeah.
but I might get the live stream maybe. But yeah, I just wouldn't want to go in person per se. Although the expo would probably be worth going to. But
The
yeah, just
expo is amazing. Yeah.
but yeah, I like the strong men and strong women contest too. So that would be kind of fun to watch there too.
Yeah. They
Yeah.
have amazing sports you've never heard of at the Arnold, like arm wrestling, or, like certain things that I'm not just arm wrestling, but it's like there's certain things there that you can be really good at and compete against people that you've never heard of before.
They got the slap fighting, like, which is strange, but I think it's interesting.
It is, yeah. A strange thing.
Um, I'm just curious if there's anything I missed that you'd like to address or anybody you'd like to shout out.
Um, no, I think this has been a great interview. Thank you for asking all the great questions.
Thank you.
I think, I have a sponsor, Angel Competition Bikini, which I am just grateful for their support for me, especially, in the wheelchair division. We're so small, and it's kind of an honor for them to support me in that. And
That's terrific.
yeah,
Is that your only sponsor? Or do you have any other
yeah.
sponsors?
Nope, just Angel Competition Bikini. So,
Oh, cool. Are you interested in other sponsors though?
oh, possibly, yeah. I mean, why
Great.
not?
No, I just for folks watching, might
Yeah.
be interested in. Yeah, no, that's cool. So did they provide um a a competition suit for you? Because I know those can be
Yeah.
really expensive.
Yeah, they run $600 to $800 for a suit, but since I only use half of one, I just use the top.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, that kind of cuts the cost there, which is nice. But yeah, they do, which is fun to have. You don't have to have a new suit for every competition you do, but it's fun to have a new suit. And so
Yeah.
that's been really fun to be able to do that. And then their fashion show, they have a fashion show um, like almost everywhere now, but they had it at Olympia, and they're going to have one at the Arnold. I'm going to do the Arnold fashion show, which will be fun.
Oh,
So
are you? Oh,
yeah,
terrific. That's so cool. Wow. I have seen that. Don't they put the angel wings on you, I think? Or
I mean, you can do whatever you want. You can
yeah.
do any theme. You can do mermaid. You can do cowgirl. You can do wings. You can do anything you want. So
Oh,
um,
wow.
it
Are you
doesn't have
gonna
to
do
be
a
doesn't
theme
have
of
to be
it?
angel wings. But
Oh yeah. Are you gonna do a theme or costume, do you think? Or
um, well, it's kind of a costume. There's not really a theme to it, but I'm excited. I just have some really fun. I have some fun boots that I'm gonna wear that kind of match my top, and just gonna play up the top that they made for me. So
oh,
yeah,
terrific. That's so cool. That's awesome.
yeah, I'm excited.
Well, thank you so much for your time. And I was curious, would you be cool with doing a quick bicep flex for me?
You want both biceps?
Sure. Yeah, that'd be cool.
Okay. Well, I don't know. Those my biceps are tiny, but there they are.
They're cute though. I like them. You look good.
Oh, thanks.
Thank you.
I
Yeah,
I
you.
I I kind of like the shoulder, adding my shoulder in when I do a bicep flex, just to,
Oh yeah, I like it.
just to get a little more depth to my arm. I don't know.
I got that. I know I like that. Looks good. Yeah, thank you. Well, thank you so much for agreeing to speak with me and kind of on short notice too. And I'll, like I said, I'll try to get this posted probably, it might be tomorrow morning at this point. But I'll tag you and we can collaborate too. It'd be great.
Okay, yeah, be great. Thank you. It's nice to meet you. Thanks for the interview.
Oh yeah, nice meeting you too. Thank you.
Alrighty.